Yeah. Welcome back. It's your guy, EDI, with another edition of the Outlaw Show. And I'm super happy, man, to have not only somebody I consider a friend, but a living legend in the hip hop journalistic world. You know what I mean? And maybe hip hop might be kind of putting you in a box because you interview people from all walks of life.
Try to.
All levels of the game. Ladies and gentlemen, VladTV. Vlad is in the building on the Outlaw Show, man.
What up, man?
What's happening, man?
My
Thanks
brother.
for coming through the man cave.
My pleasure.
Chilling out with me, man, and
Yeah.
the team. FRENZEE Broadcasting is in the building. So look, man, I just seen the other day on Twitter, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
you put out your first mixtape.
Yeah, 20 years ago. On the internet. I'm pretty sure I was the first DJ to release a mixtape on the internet.
Wow.
Yeah. The first one. It was a Cypress Hill mixtape. It's called Soul Assassination Volume 1. Me and Be Real talked about it when I interviewed him. And yeah, I believe that was the first internet release mixtape ever. Might be wrong. Someone might pop up before me.
Yeah, when they see this interview, you're going to have somebody who's like, nah, man, I'm down in Alabama. Like, nah, I put it in it.
But this was like 2001.
Right.
You know what I mean? There were no MP3s were just starting to kind of pop up a little bit and so forth. But yeah, right around that time.
So what gave you the foresight, the vision to do that at that time when it was not being done? Like, where did that inspiration come from? What did you see?
Yeah. Having limited resources. I was in the Bay. I was in Oakland.
Oh, okay.
And there was no mixtape distribution scene out there like New York, like a Canal Street or, like LA had and swap meets and so forth. So it was like, all right, how am I going to get it out there? The internet. Let's start there. And then slowly work into places like Rasputin's and Amoeba Records and so forth afterwards. But it started with the internet. And that's what made the biggest impact as well.
Okay, so moving forward, you put out 2 monumental mixtapes that kind of like blew you up.
The Rap Phenomenon mixtapes.
Exactly. The Rap Phenomenon mixtapes. But Vlad, here's the thing. You weren't a DJ. You didn't start off as a DJ, right?
Like start off as an adult?
No, I mean like
how?
Were you a DJ when you started?
Started
when
what?
you put the mixtape out. Were you a DJ like ones and twos?
Yeah, I was doing house parties. I think right around that time I started with house parties. I slowly moved up to small clubs in San Francisco and Oakland, like Nicky's Barbecue and Justice League and a bunch of other like places and so forth. And then worked my way up, moved to New York to pursue being a big club DJ.
Why the fuck can I not see that right now? I can't see you as a DJ. Probably because I know you the way I know you now.
Well, there's actually, and you guys can pull this up, there's a video of me on Rap City, DJing on Rap City.
Get the fuck out of here. I think
kind of leading into Dipset.
Yeah. Yo, we got to find that.
I was on Rap City.
We got to find that.
I was on Rap City like twice. Twice, yeah. One time I actually had the butcher outfit with like the apron and the wife beater and all that shit, trying to be a little gimmicky, whatever. But yeah, I'm DJ for real. Did clubs and then started touring. Once the Rap Phenomenon mixtape started blowing up, that's when I started getting booked in like, Australia, Bahrain, Italy, Belgium, and so forth, Japan. And, that's when I started to actually move around and really do DJing on a slightly bigger level.
So I got it. You know what I'm going to ask next.
What's that?
Is the DJ Vlad ever going to make a return?
I don't think so.
Nah, you don't miss it at all?
So. I do miss it. You're not going to say anyone who performed.
You got tables at the crib, Vlad?
I do not.
Wow,
I do not.
Tables
I do not. I'm keeping it 100. Who doesn't miss having a crowd of hundreds or thousands of people that you're controlling and they're cheering for you, and when you put
it's got to be a hell of a feeling.
You know what I mean? It's just like performing, right? When you put on that one song and it's the same thing for a DJ. You put on that one song 100%. And who doesn't miss that? But my life doesn't really allow for that type of thing right now, just because of how busy I am.
Yeah.
And realistically, I never got to a level of a Diplo of getting 100,000 per show and that type of thing. So,
but you could totally get that now.
I don't.
I want to book the tour.
Okay.
Can I book the?
If you book the tour, there's some real money.
Don't fucking say that, Vlad.
There's some real money behind it.
I'll have you working,
okay,
brother.
I'll do it. There's some real money behind it. I'll go on a tour. There you go. It's on camera.
It's on camera, y'all.
Right. There's real money behind it.
I'm gonna get to work. I'm gonna get to work.
Okay.
Man, so all right, 20 years. How does your transition from DJ now to journalist, when you just rolling around in your car and you chilling, does it fuck your head up a little bit? Like, I started here and now I'm there. Or was it a plan? Because there's some people that plot their shit out the whole way and make it through. I'm reading the RZA's book right now, and he talks about how he had the 5-year Wu-Tang plan, and he got every member to commit to the 5-year plan, and in the 4th year is when they dropped the second Wu-Tang album, and they were the biggest group. Is your career like that, or was it just like a lot of just figuring out, pivoting when you had to, and saying, oh shit, this works?
Yeah, I think it was more door number 2. I think that when I got into it, I started out with no kind of backbone in the entertainment industry at all. I was a complete and total outsider. I was just a fan living in Oakland.
Crazy.
And I had to just step by step figure out what the first step is and how to make a little bit of money here and how to increase the money and so forth. So you kind of, I can't say that early on I knew this was what it was going to be, but I also understood that I got into it a little bit later in life. By the time I was 30, I was just sort of starting my mixtape career. I wasn't even like Rap Phenomenon. I don't think I was maybe 31 when Rap Phenomenon, the first one, dropped. And it was like, I have a long life to live and I can't rely on DJ bookings to keep me going, right? So, okay, let me think a little more long term. All right, mixtapes. Okay, that's cool. Okay, more long term than mixtapes because CDs are going away. Okay, DVDs. Okay, cool. The DVDs are going away too. The internet. So it's just sort of like trying to look ahead every year, 2 years led me to sort of pivot in other ways. But I can't honestly say I knew about this 5 years in, 5 years before. Like, okay, 5 years time, I'm going to have a media company and so forth. Because if you were to tell me, this is as someone who bought every XXL magazine, every Source magazine, and if I could find like Rap Pages or Murder Dog, I'd get that too. I mean, if you were to tell me that in the future, I would start my own media company and it'd be bigger than all of these combined, and these are all backed by corporations and so forth, bigger than Vibe, bigger than whatever. I think that's just ridiculous. I didn't really have aspirations to do this type of thing as a kid or even as a teenager, or even in my early 20s. So it was really more of like a meandering thing of like, okay, let me figure out what's the next big thing and really put as much of my attention into it. And once YouTube hit and I started VladTV as a YouTube channel, that's when the big light bulb went up over my head. And that's when I stopped DJing and doing mixtapes. Because I said, this is too important right now. This is too big of an opportunity right now. And this is the future. So let me just cut out all this little short money.
And what year was that?
2008.
2008.
Yes, I'm 13 years in.
2008.
Yeah. It took me 7 years to figure out, 6 years to figure out that VladTV was going to be the focus.
All right, so I want to switch. I want to kind of stay on the same topic, but kind of switch the subject. Cryptocurrency, is now the biggest buzz word you can probably say right now to people. Something is big when you got hood cats coming up to you talking
right.
about, yo, you got this Safe Moon crypto. You got to get up on this Safe Moon crypto, dog.
That's the new one.
I'm like, so you've always had an opinion about that, especially, and you've given me some advice in my stock career. You know what I mean? And when I say advice, I want to be clear. Vlad doesn't tell me what stocks to buy or anything like that. You know what I mean? His basic principle is buy it and don't try to sell it right away. Buy something you like and keep it. And so that's just for everybody out there. Like, yo, Vlad and Edie be talking about. Nah, it ain't like that. But you have given me advice. You know what I mean?
I mean, not necessarily advice. I've said this is what I do.
Right.
If you want to do something kind of similar, this is how you pretty much do it. And then you just go off on your own and do what you do.
And I do what I do.
Right.
Your opinion on crypto, especially being somebody that kind of is able to see waves and, you know what I mean? You're not big on this wave.
My opinion on crypto is the same opinion I had when we spoke last time, which was about maybe 2 years ago. I think
it was 3 years ago.
3 years ago?
I just went back and listened to that interview.
Right.
We did it in 2017.
I think it got up to about 20,000 at that point. Then it dropped to like maybe 6. And then it started to go up. It got up to like 60,000. Then I think it's maybe at 50 or 40 now. My opinion on crypto is exactly the same way. And that is that I still don't really see a particular value and advantage of using cryptocurrency over US cash. When I see that, and when and if that happens, my opinions will then have to be adjusted. But in 2021, in May, it's essentially what it was back then. It was something that when a lot of people get excited over it, it goes up in value. And then when something bad happens around it, like, Tesla deciding not to accept Bitcoin anymore and saying that they don't, they're not going to promote the platform, the Bitcoin platform, because of how much energy it uses and what effect it has on the planet.
Right.
Or when China decides that they're outlawing crypto in the entire country to focus on their own digital currency, which is actually the reason why the big drop just happened. Those two things together, but more China than Elon Musk. You see massive drops of up to 50%. Will it go up? Will it go down? I don't know, but the way I approach investment is just different, because I'm not trying to get rich off my investments. I'm trying to grow what I have already. And the way I look at it is I invest things that I see real value in and things that I use myself and so forth. When it gets to the point where I'm using crypto for everything and all my transactions, I'll probably invest in some of it, And when you really think about it, crypto is not supposed to be an investment anyways. It's supposed to be a form of currency.
Right.
So when people say invest in crypto, it's a bit of an oxymoron in a certain type of way, but I understand what it is. And that's my take on it.
Okay. And so moving forward, we got the crypto thing and then we have the stock thing. And moving, like, everybody out there paying attention right now, listening to this interview, it's not to influence any decision that you already have in your head. This is just two guys discussing how we feel about it. One funny thing we was talking about the other day was that I think Elon Musk did a joke on Saturday Night Live. And then the next day.
Yeah, he said Dogecoin is a hustle. And then Dogecoin dropped like whatever.
It's very 40%. Volatile.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, right? Do you want to be invested in something that one person could massively affect? One human being who's not even part of whatever that is.
Yeah.
I can imagine if Jeff Bezos goes on, Saturday Night Live and says that Amazon is a scam or a hustle, then yeah, that kind of makes sense. He's the CEO of that company. Elon Musk's just a regular guy that may own some Dogecoin. So he goes and makes a joke about it, then wow. Like I said, I look at my investments differently than someone else. I understand if you got 10,000 in your bank account and you're trying to see 100 and you're just trying to flip it into whatever times 10 quick money you can, then yeah, that's going to be your path. Whenever I've done that, I've ended up losing everything. So whenever I think of stuff like that, I think about my track record.
And one thing that always stuck with me that you said to me, you said, Edie, the stock market never zeroed out. It drops, it's gotten super low, but it's never zeroed out.
The stock market as a whole. Companies have gone out of business.
Yeah, the stock market as a whole.
WorldCom has gone out of business.
Right.
But all the that was pretty much it that year for anything on the Fortune 500 list. Because like I said, there's very much of a difference than investing in gold versus investing into a company that's creating money every day.
Okay.
With the gold, you're hoping that tomorrow it's worth more than it was today because people want gold tomorrow. Right. But if gold goes out of style and everyone's rocking silver, then gold, you know, if all around the world everyone's just rocking silver, then gold will ultimately go down in value. It has nothing to do with what it's generating because it's not generating anything. But a company like a Google, ultimately, yeah, it'll fluctuate during the course of the year based on the rest of the market. But every quarter when they release their earnings and they show how much they make and what their profit is, that's what really establishes the price. And that's what I look at. I look at things that create money. And if they're always creating money, ultimately I feel that I will make money with that company over time.
Pay attention, boys and girls. All right? You know, I like to jump around. I want to jump into your favorite interviews.
Oosh.
Give me, I'm not going to make it too hard for you. Give me 2 of your favorite interviews so far to date. And then after that, I want you to give me 2 interviews that did numbers for you, but you're not that crazy about. Maybe
that crazy about
how you did or the guest, whatever the case may be.
I always have to say that one of my all-time favorites is Fab Morvan of Milli Vanilli.
Wow.
That's such an epic story. You know, the only musical act to have to give back their Grammys.
It's crazy.
Ever in the history of the Grammys.
Girl, you know it's true.
Yeah, the guy who actually sang that just died the other day. The actual guy.
The real
guy. Right, the real guy. He just died.
Rest in
like
peace,
60,
man.
66 or something, relatively young. So
did he get the Grammy? Do you know that? Did they actually?
No, they got the Grammys. They had to give them back, and then
I mean, but did the Grammys like give it to the real guy?
No,
like that seemed like what should have happened.
Just no one got the Grammy. Best new artist that year is just vacant.
There is no best.
There is no best new artist.
It's fucked
There's
up
a second
year,
best
man.
new artist, but not a best new artist.
Milli Vanilli basically fucked up the whole year.
Fucked up that year in multiple categories. I think album of the year they also got like they nabbed like three or maybe even 4 Grammys. So yeah, they had to give back their Grammys, and then you know one of the guys, the light-skinned dude, I forgot his name, went into a deep depression, got on drugs, and ultimately
I think I seen the behind the story on VH1 or some shit like that.
Either committed suicide or overdosed, one of the two, right before going to rehab the next day.
Yeah.
So it was just such an epic story, you know, and then, you know, the record company had to give people refunds. It was just kind of like a clown show at one point. But yeah, that story was so epic that, you know, I think ranks in one of my top ones. And, you know, I have to say the Keefe D interview. I mean, you can't just not mention that because I feel that single-handedly answered everyone's questions about how, you know, your homie Tupac passed away. I think after watching that, no one could really run with anything but that. Only first-hand account.
But you already know.
I mean, people will run with something else, but
you already know.
At the end of the day,
people out there that's like, nah.
Yeah, right. You know,
I know who did it.
Right, and the important part is that his story also perfectly matches up with everyone else who was there.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta,
including you.
You just got to have
Chris
intelligence,
Carroll, you know, and so forth. So I think that ultimately, you know, I feel like kind of solved. You know, even though people like you already knew, for the public, I feel it ultimately solved that unsolved case.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, 2 interviews that did great for you, but
I didn't like.
Yeah. That you don't watch. You wouldn't go back and watch it. So we can make everybody watch them.
Huh. Wait, okay.
That did numbers. They did good for
numbers,
you.
But
you're not too fond.
I'm not too fond of the interview.
It might be your performance. It might be the guest. Whatever reason why.
You know, I wasn't happy with you know, the fact that Tretch walked out of our interview. That's an interview that you actually helped facilitate. You know, I never liked that. I'm someone that the few times that's happened, I've usually just cut that out of the footage completely. In his case, I felt it wasn't exactly a walkout. It was more of a just I'm getting too emotional and getting frustrated with you know, these questions about, you know, my friend Tupac, and you know, I just got to walk out at this point, you know. And me and him, you know, kind of gave each other a hug afterwards and so forth. Like, it wasn't like a...
Right.
But having someone walk out of an interview, I feel as an interviewer, you've somewhat failed because you have to figure out how to ask these questions in a way that a person doesn't just say, fuck this. You know, you have to figure out a way to ease into it where you're respectful and you make the person feel comfortable and they answer it honestly.
Yeah.
Or if they don't answer it, they're at least willing to answer more questions. So that to me was a disappointment. It did numbers, and, you know, everyone likes to see the walkout and everything else like that. But to me, it was
it's dramatic. You know,
it was a disappointment. I'm trying to think what else.
And if you don't have another one, that's cool.
I'm gonna leave it at that one. I think that's the one that comes off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, because, you know, doing this shit is not necessarily an easy thing when you gotta ask tough motherfucking questions.
Yeah, like I do.
Like you do. And so that leads me into my next question.
Right.
The rumors that surround.
Right.
Vlad.
Which ones?
The rumors that surround. Let me pick the number one rumor.
Right. Let's hear it.
That you work for the federal government. You work for the FBI.
Right.
You're an informant of some sort that is here planted amongst the hip hoppers to get them all locked up, and you're doing the government's bidding.
Right.
How do you feel about that rumor, and what's your response to it?
I feel like it's almost a compliment these days in a certain type of way. If you feel that I go so far with my questions that I almost sound like the police, it almost sounds like an interrogation, that means that I am pushing the limit to my art form, you know, as far as I could possibly get it. You know, at the end of the day, it takes a lot of guts, and it takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of confidence, and it takes a lot of bravery to sit down with someone that you don't know, that you're meeting for the first time right then and there, and talk about their most intimate, you know, details of their life. It's not easy. It's not easy.
That's why I just said it, because it's not.
It looks easy from the outside. What's the big deal? You're just asking questions. A lot of research goes behind these questions. Sometimes weeks of research, you know, not only traditional research, but talking to people. You know, I've called you at various times as I'm getting ready to interview someone else and say, hey, do you know about this and what you should go talk to this person, and you're kind of connecting the dots and finding out stuff. So when sometimes people will sit down and be like, you know, like a little baby was like, how do you know that? Like, you know, I'll ask them a question like, how did you even know that? Like, because we're researching, right? Because we're digging in deeper than most other people. And, you know, you got to dig and you got to find all those things. And then you have to be brave enough to ask those questions to someone, knowing that they might get pissed off, knowing they might walk out, knowing they might fight you over that question. Knowing, because I'm in the room with the person maybe half the time. You know, half the time we're doing it remotely, half the time we're in the room together. You know, knowing that there might be some personal danger to your own safety by asking this question, and to do that over and over again for 13 years is a lot. It's a lot that goes into it.
So you honestly take it as a compliment then?
By this time, right.
It doesn't irk you anymore.
No, because I'm not trying to hide anything. It's not like I used to be the police and I'm trying to, trying to hide the fact. I don't have any association with the police or the feds or anything else like that. I have a successful business. That speaks for itself, right? I wasn't just planted there and, you know, out of nowhere, suddenly I'm paying thousands for interviews. I don't even have a website. You know what I mean? Like a federal informant will just pop up somewhere with a bunch of money, wants to buy a bunch of, bunch of coke, and, you know, and you don't quite know where he is, but he's got the money and so forth. Yeah. Right. So yeah, it doesn't bother me. I've heard it I've heard it pretty much from the beginning. So yeah.
From the beginning?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
Has it picked up steam as your popularity grew, or
everything picks up steam
everything does.
Everything gets bigger. More people talk about you. Bigger people talk about you. You get mentioned in songs, and in movies and TV shows, and yeah, it just gets bigger and bigger, and you just deal with it how you deal with it. But you just focus on the work.
Right.
You focus on the work, and you also realize that you're creating this content for people to talk about it, for people to celebrate it or hate it, and create conversations around that, which ultimately brings more energy to what it is that you do. Like I'm not creating this stuff and playing it in my basement to 3 people. Like I'm opening it up to the world.
No, because I was just gonna say you're now being covered by other media outlets.
Yeah,
they're taking your content and using it.
Yeah, they always have. Like we were on Wendy Williams yesterday. Wendy was playing our Vivica Fox clips and talking about
the Vivica Fox stuff is floating around a lot.
Yeah, it's floating around. Number
of different places.
It's floating around. A bunch of
epic interview.
Yahoo News picked it up. We've been on from CNN to Fox to whoever.
Right.
Over time. If whatever we do makes sense for that platform, they pick it up and they cover it. So yeah, the stuff.
You feel legitimized. Does that make you feel legitimized that like CNN using your shit?
Yeah, a bigger platform. We know how big we are. We know we're not as big as CNN, and a bigger platform promoting it to their audience is really more. It's not so much of we feel legitimized, because I've always felt legitimized. What we do is legitimate. But to have a totally different audience that may have never heard of VladTV, because I don't feel VladTV is a household name in America. Not at all.
Getting damn close, bro.
It's a household name in hip hop, right?
For sure.
And maybe Hollywood and maybe sports to a certain degree, but not to general America.
Okay.
So to have access to a general America kind of a crowd and potentially get some more people, be on the radar with some of those people, that's what feels good to me.
No doubt. Okay, so I want to run through these next questions really quick. Any interview that you've wanted that you haven't got yet? Just give me one. I'm sure it's more than one.
Woo!
But what's the big one?
For
me, it's Rihanna. I haven't gotten her yet. I'm still working on it. We're going to get that.
We're going to get that. I could talk about the interviews that were like in process that never happened because the person passed away.
Oh, shit.
Most recently, of course, was DMX. I've talked about that.
Yeah.
That was in process. That never happened. Me and Pop Smoke, we were supposed to do an interview like that next week. That never happened. Dick Gregory, that was something that was sort of in the works, but I had to go down to Washington, D.C. to do it, and I just couldn't quite fit that into my schedule, so I just kept procrastinating on it. My fault, Paul Mooney has sent me an email a few years ago saying that he loved the show.
Rest in peace to Paul Mooney.
He was a big, he talked about how much he liked the Lunel interviews. They were real close. I wished I had gotten that at some point, but that never happened.
Okay.
So those, that's a list of ones that I felt were like at least achievable to a certain degree. I would like to do Obama or whoever else, but
you trying to say Rihanna ain't achievable for me?
I've interviewed Rihanna, actually.
You have. I'm talking about me.
I've interviewed Kanye. You could do Rihanna. You just got to catch her in the right spot. I just randomly stopped by Def Jam one day and she was there.
Wow.
And I'm like, can I interview her? They're like, yeah, but you got to keep the lens cap on because she wasn't in hair and makeup.
We got to wrap it up. But before I do, subscriptions.
Yeah.
That's the newest thing for VladTV. I want you to talk about that real quick before we get up out of here.
So
that's huge.
Thank you. We launched that a few months ago. I think we're on our 3rd month this month. And this is something I've been wanting to do for a while because the way that we, roll out our stuff is if we have let's say a 2-hour interview, we'll release it in clips every day, 2 to 5 minute clips. And it might take a month, sometimes even 2 months for all the clips to be released. And then the full interview comes out at the end. For example, like the new Boosie interview is almost 3 hours long and it's 44 parts. Right? So a good month and a half. So people always ask for the full interview early, and people have even offered to pay for it. So we said, okay, so we launched the VladTV YouTube membership, where for $4.99, you get access to the full interview the day it's released, right, sometimes even early. So for example, my interview with Gonzo is out right now for VladTV YouTube members. And the first clip will start on Sunday to the general public.
That's what's up.
So if you paid your $5 this month, shout out to Gonzo. If you paid your $5, you could watch the whole Gonzo interview right now.
That's what's up.
And yeah, I mean, we've gotten thousands of members now, and with more every day. So it's just
congratulations.
Yeah, man, it's just dope. It's dope because I feel like we're giving a good service to the people who really want that, who are willing to pay the $5 not to wait. And to people who don't want to pay, they get the exact same experience anyways. So it doesn't take anything away from them.
Dope.
Yep.
Dope. Congratulations on that, man.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that. Must continue success. Appreciate the motherfucking suit, man. This is not his normal.
This is the
wear,
first time
man.
like anyone's seen me in a suit. Actually, anyone's really seen me in a suit publicly. This is it. Look, this is it right
here.
The
Outlaw Show, man.
Outlaw Show.
Edimean, Vlad, you know what it is, man. Make sure you follow us. All social media outlets. Tap in. Back with more dope shit. We out.
How's that?